And we continue at 2:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
Johnny, you know what we haven't done in a minute? Check in with the public comments at LA City Hall during the city council meeting. Let's see if it's karaoke night.
Now let's move on to item number 17. I'm moving as fast as I can. 你不知道我为什么离开你，我坚持不能说放任你哭泣。
This guy does the same bit 3 times a week, every single week. He is committed.
I just wish that Alexis de Tocqueville was alive to see this.
醉了满地，在心里清晰。
He's got a pretty good singing voice.
Well, he's been practicing.
And if I understood Korean, I could tell you what the lyrics are.
盘旋在你看不见的高空里。
Wait, why'd you stop it? He was just getting the good part.
多的是你不知道的事。
Tip your waitresses. 800-222-5222 is telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. It is our pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. He is a Republican political strategist who you can follow on X at The Thomas Guide. John Thomas, welcome.
Hey, John, good to be with you.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by. And let's start out talking about a poll that you and your firm just conducted on this proposed wealth confiscation tax, this tax that the SEIU is looking for here in the state of California that has already chased over $1 trillion in wealth out of the state of California. We know that Gavin Newsom doesn't want it. We know that other state Democrats don't want it. Certainly none of the Republicans want it. But they're not the statewide electorate. And if this initiative were to make the ballot, it would be the statewide electorate that would get to decide whether or not we approve it or not. That's who you tested. What did you find out?
Well, unfortunately, John, I found out that if the election were held today, the measure, the wealth tax, would pass with about 60% support from Californian likely voters. That's pretty disappointing. And what's even more disappointing that the poll found was a couple things. One was interesting that voters were informed that Gavin Newsom said he didn't like this either, and they couldn't care less that Gavin didn't approve of it. But we threw the kitchen sink in terms of messaging that you're seeing from a lot of the tech elites, even some Democrats, and certainly Republicans that are talking about the loss of jobs that this might cause, that it's unfair, all these other things. And voters didn't seem to really care too much in the state of California. They really think that we need to stick it to the rich, even if they know it costs jobs in the state of California. So I don't want to say that this 100% is going to pass, John, because it's still early. But I got to tell you, in order to defeat this measure, assuming it qualifies for the ballot, it will likely take several $100 million worth of spend in ads to defeat such a measure.
Let's say that you took your pollster hat off for a second and you put your strategist hat on. And Elon Musk and some of the other people in Silicon Valley said, look, we can't allow this to happen. If we were to write a check right now for $400 million to fight this thing, can you guarantee me that this would fail? What would you say to them?
Oh, gosh, I can't guarantee you, but I could give you a very good chance of defeating it, because even though in strategist land, there's something called share of voice, which is simply if one side is delivering a message, let's assume the Ro Khannas, the Warrens are delivering the pro wealth tax message, but I pull up on either side of them with 1,000 megaphones, I can kind of drown them out. But even then, John, I can't guarantee it. I could give you a fighting chance, but I can't guarantee it.
Well, that means that more of them are going to cut bait and move out of state.
Well, here's what I would do, and we're seeing this with clients of our firms is smart capital allocators are looking at this, and I'm not just talking about billionaires. It's pretty much the real consequence, John, is if you are in a Silicon Valley startup that you think is venture capital backed, that today is not worth $1 billion on paper. But over the course of the next year, 2, 3 years, you believe that the company could be a $5 billion company, $10 billion company, and your interest could be worth $1 billion or a lot. Why take the risk? And that's what capital allocators and venture-backed companies are looking at. They're going, I can go somewhere else. It's not worth rolling the dice to see if this measure does or does not pass in the state of California.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but just anecdotally, I have been told by people, wealthy people, who used to be California residents who moved out of state, that the state of California can be quite aggressive at coming after you, saying that you still owe us money, even though you're not a resident here. I know of some people, for example, who moved to the state of Nevada, who purposely go to Starbucks every single day and buy a Starbucks with a credit card so they have some sort of transaction every day. They have some sort of proof memorialized that they were not, in fact, in the state of California, because the state of California will go after them.
That is 100% true. I've seen that on actually numerous occasions. There are even apps for your phone, John, that can create a digital log and record that you can use when you're fighting the state, California state government. I mean, they will check your utility bills. They will check your veterinary records of what, if you did, even if you left the state, but you kept the same doctors back in California, the state of California will accuse you of not having actually moved. The irony of this, John, is that the state is stupid to be attacking billionaires because they are the folks that can most easily relocate out of the state. Like if you were going to pick on somebody that can't leave, go on lower income that just don't have the means to leave. Billionaires can go to Miami or Dallas or Tennessee quite easily.
What's wild to me is that they're willing to go to these lengths to prove that someone is a resident of California, to the point of looking up where you go to for your doctor's appointment, where you see your dermatologist, whatever. Yet we had 2 U.S. senators who aren't even really residents of the state. LaFonza Butler was a resident of the state of Maryland. We know that Adam Schiff and his family do not live in a 1-bedroom condo in Burbank when they have a humongous house out in Maryland. And now Eric Swalwell is doing the exact same thing. He doesn't live here. He lives on the East Coast. They can get away with it. But if you're just trying to make an honest living, they come after you like you're Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, it's true. The hypocrisy is really something else. But, the worrisome thing about this wealth tax to me is, as we know, it's never a one-time tax. That's not how new taxes work. And so if this passes, what I think I'm worried you're going to see is you're going to see a bunch of other blue states and cities that are going to say, hey, what a great idea. And so you're going to start to see a wave of this. And then as we go into 2028, the talking point nationally from Democrats is, well, we have to stop rich people from fleeing high tax states, so we're going to nationalize a wealth tax at the federal level so they can't run, which would just crater, obviously, the entire economy. And it's so I'm very worried about it. And so I do hope that people do step up to the plate here in California to fight this, but I'm not optimistic that they'll win that fight.
Talk to me about the raw politics of this, because if you're the SEIU, you are going into this initiative with the governor on the opposite side, with various candidates running for governor on the opposite side, with obviously the richest people in the state being very much opposed to this. I would assume that most of the newspapers are going to come out against this. And if you pull it off, you are now emboldened in a way that you never were before. You've proven that you don't need any of them to get what you want, that you can just take it to the ballot, spend enough money, and get whatever it is that you desire. What do you think would be next for them? Do you think they'd want to get rid of Prop 13? Do you think they'd want to raise the income tax? What do you think is next if the sky is the limit?
Well, that's the thing. That'll be one of the key lessons, although everybody will be freaking out. Obviously, the headlines the day after will be about the wealth tax. But you're right. It is the strategy of these unions will have shifted to take it directly to the people. You know, John, normally what a lot of these unions do is they threaten ballot measures to put ballot measures on the ballot, only to have negotiation leverage with the governor and legislature to get some kind of carve out in the budget that they want. The problem is the amount of money that these unions want who are sponsoring the ballot measure, Gavin Newsom and the legislature cannot give. There's just not enough money to satisfy them. And so the union felt that the only way they're going to get their handout that they want is by creating a tax to do it. And when they succeed, every other union in the state is going to think to themselves, why do I play this game of leverage or negotiation with the governor and the legislature when if I can just come up with what would be a populist or leftist approach and slogans like sticking it to the rich, why would I not do it again? And here's the other thing, John, because we're in the era of AI, the headlines, because you know the magic, the Fantastic Seven or Magnificent Seven that are generating all the stock returns in the stock market. In the next coming 5 years, 10 years, John, the headlines are going to be about how rich leaders of AI companies are, which is going to further make liberal Californians think that it's fair to tax those ultra rich people. So I think you're going to see an emboldened wave of ballot measures, and it's all going to be separate handouts for unions because that's how they get money for the union instead of arguing with the legislature.
One of the things that happens as the coalitions evolve is you see a changing makeup of the conservative coalition, changing makeup of the Democratic coalition. And over time, and we've seen this accelerate with Trump, we've seen the Democrats hemorrhage blue-collar whites and Latinos and Asians and black men and those groups drifting over to the Republican Party. And we've seen the Republican Party lose white-collar, college-educated whites, people who are affluent, who live in coastal communities, who live in the expensive suburbs, those places in California that used to vote Republican are now reliably blue. If you are someone who is a high-income earning, college-educated white person who lives in Danville, why in the world are you voting for a tax like this when you know that you're next?
Well, that's the amazing thing is that they buy the rhetoric that it is a one-time tax and they don't think it affects them. But John, the logical thing is if this works, of course, they're going to run out of billionaires to tax, and then you have to work your way down the chain. So I think it's really just, I call it like the country club Republicans or the country club liberals in California that go, I'm not going to put much of a stink up about this because I'm not a billionaire. It's like, yes, but you are next on the chopping block. You must draw the line on this issue because they're coming after you next. And I think it's first a split roll and then repealing Prop 13. That just seems like where this is all going to go.
And they seem totally oblivious to it. And not only are they oblivious, but they're going to be in the car with them hitting the gas pedal.
That's exactly right. But they're buying this idea that it only affects a few billionaires. And the other thing is the stupidity of this is that it is the wealthy, the venture capitalists in California. If you scare them away, they will take their entire ecosystem of venture capital with them. If California did not have that startup ecosystem of Silicon Valley, it would have fallen off the cliff decades ago. And they're just further driving the acceleration of the next Apple, the next Facebook, the next Google will be started in Austin or Miami and not Silicon Valley.
Let's shift gears here for a second and talk about the gubernatorial debate that happened last night. I think the first thing that we should address is who wasn't there, where Katie Porter decided that she was going to skip the debate. I guess she had to wash her hair or make some more minestrone soup or something. I don't know. Eric Swalwell, who's already missed a gazillion votes in Congress, said he couldn't show up because he had to vote in Washington, D.C. And then Chad Bianco didn't show up because he said that one of his grandkids was born and that was a more important event than showing up to the debate. What do you make of their decision to not show up?
Well, I think that on the Democratic side, first of all, I'm not terribly surprised when you're leading in the polls in your position, and Katie and Eric are some of the top Democrats currently. They don't want to have people take shots at them and make a mistake. Katie Porter does not want to address the elephant in the room, which is her temper. And maybe Katie knows better that she can't control her temper, John. She might end up throwing something at one of the other candidates. So perhaps she didn't want to be on that stage. And the same thing goes with Eric. He doesn't want to take people to take shots at him at this stage. But here's what I would argue, John. This is the big leagues. You don't get the luxury of avoiding debates. This is table stakes. You must show up and you must navigate the terrain, even if others are going to take shots at you, because that's how our electoral process works. And if you're just going to run away and trade on your name ID or your current poll position, you're not worthy of being a top tier candidate in the state of California.
I don't think Katie Porter can control her temper. I think she has one speed. She is a rageaholic. She might even be bipolar. And if she talks long enough, everyone's going to be aware of it.
Well, I agree with that. I think further, Katie's Achilles heel right now, really, if we drill it down on the temper issue, she has a likability problem. And the problem is, John, and I'm no fan of Katie Porter, but just objectively speaking, I've never seen her in public where she's likable. I haven't seen the moment. Never mind, she can't even have a simple question asked of her by a reporter that is a relatively softball question, never mind being aggressively attacked by other candidates on stage. So I think her days are probably numbered simply because she has no way to psychologically deal with her main flaw, which is she's a terribly unlikable human being.
Tom Steyer, the billionaire who is running for governor, was at the debate last night. And yesterday, we learned that he is dumping another $9.3 million into his campaign for governor, bringing his total spend to just over $38 million, which is funny because if you add up Steve Hilton, Chad Bianco, Antonio Villaraigosa, Eric Swalwell, Katie Porter, Javier Becerra, Betty Yee, and Tony Thurmond combined, they only hit $34 million, and Steyer is at $38 million.
Yeah, and let's not forget, John, Steyer already, I think he threw in originally was 20 or 27 million. He's already spent that down to zero this far out. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. And it really shows you, it unveils what Tom believes is his core strategy. He believes that in a state as large as California, where it's very difficult to do retail politicking, that his advantage is going to be his levels of spend and to be able to get his name ID up and message out. We'll see how valuable that is. Tom spent $200 million for president and didn't even get it past Iowa. So I'm not so sure the Californians are going to buy what he's selling. And I think that the part of the reason is, John, Californians don't care. The top issue right now is not climate change, and that's kind of been Steyer's whole shtick. I'm not sure how he rebrands in that backdrop, but I would say having a lot of money in the state of California is powerful in a low information contest like this, that other than folks like you, there's just not a lot of media exposure on the race. So Tom's hoping to buy it. I'm at this rate, John, if you kind of extend out the pace, Tom's going to spend $200-300 million in this race.
Which is crazy to think of, but certainly possible. John Thomas, Republican political strategist. You can follow him on X at The Thomas Guide. John, thanks so much for stopping by. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, John.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, we're going to Long Beach this Friday.
It's coming up real soon. We'll be there in less than 48 hours. Come see us at Gladstone's in Long Beach this Friday from noon to 3 as we head to Gladstone's in Long Beach for our second live broadcast of the year. You are invited. Come enjoy the great food, good vibes, and a fun afternoon by the water. We'll have special guests like our friend Susan Shelley from the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association. She'll tell you more about your taxpayer rights and protecting Prop 13. Very relevant right now, isn't it? The courts have made it so easy to raise your taxes. All of these citizens' initiatives only need a simple majority thanks to the courts. What we need to do is go back to a 2/3 majority, which was put in by Prop 13. So if you want that to happen and make it harder to raise taxes, you need to sign this petition. Go to saveprop13.com. Bring the petitions with you to Long Beach or get your friends and family to do it. If everyone got 10 people to fill this thing out, we'd have enough signatures to get this thing on the ballot and then some. The deadline is February 17th, so get those signatures in and come see us in Long Beach as we celebrate Jimmy Buffett Friday.
Let's go to Chris in Berkeley. Chris, hello.
Hey, John, I'm going to start off with a cliche because I know you guys like cliches. So I'm going to say long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks for taking my call.
That's a cliche if I've ever heard one.
We'll let it slide, though.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hey, I just wanted to ask you, my wife Ginger and I watched the debate last night, and we kept noticing underneath the screen there were all these percentages, and we were very surprised that Steve Hilton was like at 60 or 70, and all the Democrats were like in single digits or like maybe 15 at the most. Do you read anything into that? Does that mean anything?
Yeah, I guess it could mean that the people who were being sampled certainly liked what he was saying and didn't like what the other candidates were saying. And it also could be a problem for the Democratic Party, which is if you like one Democratic candidate, you may not like the other Democratic candidates. And if that's the case, your candidate doesn't make it to the November runoff. Maybe you show up and vote. Maybe you don't. I don't know. It's always hard to tell with those things because after every debate or after every convention speech, you see something like this. I know they do it sometimes for the State of the Union. It's hard to take that information and turn it into something useful. But certainly if I'm Steve Hilton, I'm enjoying those results.
Yeah, we were pleasantly surprised. I was almost shocked when I saw he was at 60 or 70, and I was like, what? That's Steve Hilton?
He had a good night last night.
Yeah, he looked great. We're voting for him for sure.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Sal in West Hollywood. Sal, hello.
Hey, John, Randy, appreciate you guys for putting out the information that you do and informing the public here. But this should not be a surprise what Karen Bass is doing. And I think really that this needs to be brought out much more. She was the head of the Venceremos Brigade in her early days. This was a faction of the Weather Underground. She was a leader of a group that bombed the federal building here in Los Angeles. This needs to be pointed out. She's a communist. And all of that we're seeing, if you look at it and you see what's the difference between what's happening in California and a communist state, there's really no difference. The Palisades fire was meant, in my opinion, to destroy homes. And if you see Scott Wiener's bill that allows for large corporations to buy up this property, and their aim is to put in low-income housing. This is Soros money, who we know is anti-American. All that we're seeing is not surprising. We should not be surprised by this. And John and Randy, you guys do a great job. I would hope that this would be emphasized more and more so that the people, stop saying, well, gee, what's wrong with this? How come people don't understand? The voters in California are low IQ voters. Let's be honest. For 60% of the electorate to go along with these ridiculous proposals, as Mr. Thomas had mentioned, this is insane. Any person who values the constitutional republic that we have would say this is an 80-20 issue. So, again, I would urge you, please, to point this stuff out and continue what you're doing because I love your show and I know a lot of other people do.
Well, thank you for the call. And if you go back to the 2024 presidential election, and Karen Bass was on the short list to be Joe Biden's vice presidential nominee, or 2020 election, I guess I should say, the reason that she got passed over was due to her affection for Fidel Castro. And that information was put into the public domain by consultants working for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was the one that torpedoed Karen Bass when Karen Bass wanted to be Joe Biden's VP. That certainly became a problem for her on the national stage. Didn't hurt her so much when she ran for mayor in Los Angeles, but certainly explains a lot of what we're seeing coming out of that office. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Robert in Santa Clara. Robert, hello.
Hey, guys. Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to say we need to get over and sign that petition. John Kerr Paul is actually a genius in the timing, trying to stop these citizens' initiatives and these reflexive knee-jerk unions from blackmailing basically everybody. And then also the politicians, the guilty ones like Gavin, they've been vilifying everybody but government. Government is the enemy. They won't admit this. The government, it's not the rich. It's the government. These policies, you hear me call gas taxes and cap and trade is we've been benched forever. Since whatever they put in cap and trade for 4 times gas taxes. You got to get rid of those and go to an offset sales tax of whatever point percentage is to gain the same money, simmer down the CPI, and allow everyone to have a raise and have breathing here. And Gavin is totally guilty. He blew up these reservoirs. He's going to build Sites Reservoir. Like he says, at 3 times the cost as it needs to be. Our water has been destroyed. Blue Diamond Almonds is leaving. I mean, we have got to revive and restore the whole state. Steve Hilton's my guy. And, we got eventually, after we take care of John Kerr Paul with that Citizens Initiative restoring aspects of Prop 58 and Prop 13. That's the first step to enlightening people, being able to homestead, retire here, and have everything be more affordable and get back to a classic California economy like we used to have. And we need this restoration. All these low IQ voters are just being talked into you're going to have a free domicile and a pension. It doesn't work that way. Anyone with a half a brain gets it. They want to come here and work, and we have to control how many dependents we have here. And we could be building cities in Mexico and all the citadels up and down the whole from the top of South America all the way up the whole stream there. If we could lower the cost of the everything, we could be an actual we can't just do high-density housing everywhere here and just load them all up with people who are going to be dependents. We have to stratify this stuff, but it's not affordable because of all the low-hanging fruit abusers in the private equity buy-up. And then, of course, the wannabe socialists are a big pain because they're radical and they're insane and they're willing to be violent and put wrenches in all the works. And it has to be stopped. All the smart people need to really the first step is to get over to your guys' event there in Long Beach or get on the internet and sign that petition. That's the first step because we're not going to take it to the Supreme Court. We need to use federalism and take care of our state. Get rid of that union option. That's the first step. Now, if we could say, go for it.
Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it. And we told you earlier in the program that the California Fair Plan is operating in secrecy. They will not show us the books. They will not have any transparency at all. But it's not just the California Fair Plan that's operating in the shadows. So is the bullet train.
That's according to reporting from one of our favorites, Ashley Zavala at KCRA3, as the high-speed rail wants to keep part of their plans super top secret. For more, here's KCRA3.
California is moving forward with a high-speed rail project, even though there are many questions about who is going to pay for it.
Governor Gavin Newsom.
In fact, we have no idea who's going to pay for it.
It's not going to be the federal government.
We've got Wasco to Madera paid for with the extension of cap and trade, or as Gavin likes to call it, cap and invest. We don't even have the rest of the funding for Wasco to Merced.
That's pathetic.
Governor Gavin Newsom was in Kern County today announcing the latest update. KCRA3's political director, Ashley Zavala, has more now on the status.
This all comes amid fallout with the federal government. The Trump administration has made clear they will not be a partner in this project, blocking billions of dollars from it. In Kern County today, the governor promoted the completion of the bullet train's southern railhead. He says this.
Woohoo! We can finally start laying track in like a year.
This is so pathetic.
He says this is a key update now that track has been installed there, saying the facility will serve as delivery, storage, and deployment of critical materials. Crews are working on a 171-mile line between Bakersfield and Merced, which is expected to cost about $40 billion and be completed sometime between 2030 and 2033. The original project was supposed to cost $40 billion overall and take passengers from Los Angeles to San Francisco.
Never, ever, ever gonna happen. Never.
That original vision is expected to cost at least $128 billion, and there is no actual funding strategy for that yet. The state is
No, which was, again, what everyone voted for when this thing was on the ballot back in 2008. Do you think the state of California would have voted for a train that takes you from Wasco to Madera? I do not understand what the purpose is.
I think that's even one bridge too far for the voters here.
The state is now looking for private investors to help. The governor made it clear he is committed to seeing this through.
Want to be big, you got to be big in big things. This is the
cliche.
And keep in mind, he models his life after Tony Robbins.
Want to be big, you got to be big in big things. This is the only high-speed rail system of its type anywhere in the United States of America.
There is none. It does not exist.
An operational line. You cannot buy a ticket on it. You cannot go from LA to San Francisco. You can't go from anywhere to anywhere else.
High-speed rail system of its type anywhere in the United States of America. You can talk all you want. You guys are actually delivering, making things happen. The good news is only 17% of this project so far has been federally funded. We're doing the hard work. State of California making that commitment.
Without the approval of Californians.
How is this even legal if it's not even remotely close to what we voted for, and now it's just going to go on forever and cost a fortune?
Well, this is what happens when they took cap and trade, a program that was supposed to expire in 2030, and said, we're going to extend it another 15 years so we could put $1 billion a year into this thing, because they think, okay, now that there's some stable funding, we're going to get some foreign investors. What foreigner is going to invest in this train?
Nobody.
State of California making that commitment. We're not going to turn our back to you. We're going to have your back. We're going to keep coming back.
Actually, you know what? I can think of one foreign investor. Tourism Japan. And you get Tourism Japan signs all over the construction for this. If you want to see a high-speed rail that really works, come to Tokyo.
So he's temporary. He's temporary. That's just a couple years. Go by in a flash. By the time he's out,
he's talking about Trump.
Well, substantially completed this rail line.
No, you will not. He's out in 2028.
This is Gavin Newsom. He makes big, grandiose proclamations with no follow-through. Remember when he was mayor of San Francisco and said, oh, homelessness will be over in San Francisco in, what was it, 8 years or 10 years or something like that?
How'd that work out?
It's worse than ever before. He also told blacks that he would give them reparations after George Floyd. Remember that?
Where'd that
Anybody
go?
gotten a check? And then how about when Arizona got rid of abortion, and he said all the abortionists in Arizona can come to California and they can do all the abortions they want here. You know how many of them came to California? 0. This guy is one great big massive flake.
I'm looking forward to that.
Now, there are 2 proposals this year coming from both state lawmakers and Governor Newsom's administration that would allow the project's inspector general to shield records from the public that, quote, reveal weaknesses that could be exploited by individuals attempting to harm the interests of the state or in a...
What does that mean?
It means that all of the relevant information will be kept private and the public won't be able to read it.
We can't be transparent because someone might try to derail this train.
Of course.
Or inappropriately benefit from the project. The governor told reporters today he didn't know anything about that. Back to you.
Of course he didn't.
This is what he always does. He has a lot to say about nothing. And then when there's something relevant, no, I've never heard of that before. Remember when we found out that all the money for Fire Aid was being stolen and somebody confronted him about that? He goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Governor's not in charge of that fund. Don't ask me. I don't know anything about that. 800-222-5222 is a telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And if you'd like to see us in person, we would certainly love to see you. And we can all do that on Friday in Long Beach.
We're going back to Gladstone's in Long Beach, and you are invited. There's going to be great food, great vibes, beautiful weather down there. It's going to be gorgeous. John Sengmeister is going to take care of you. We'll have special guests like Susan Shelley for the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association because the courts have made it easier to raise your taxes. We're going to tell you more about your taxpayer rights and how to protect Prop 13. Fill out the petition. Bring it with you to Long Beach. SaveProp13.com. If you've already done it, great. Get a friend to do it today. SaveProp13.com. But we'll be at Gladstone's in Long Beach on Friday from noon to 3, and so will you. Let's all enjoy ourselves and have a great Jimmy Buffett Friday at Gladstone's in Long Beach.
Let's go to Rob and Encino. Rob, hello.
Hey, just for the record, guys, your city council crooner is singing in Mandarin Chinese. It just came through loud and clear to me. And he started out that song with, I don't know why. Anyways, if you play it to Grok, he'll know. And just one more thing I wanted to say about Katie Porter. That routine she did the other day reminded me so much of the late, great Kathy O'Hara during her impression of Julia Child in the kitchen. And it was, both funny and sad at the same time.
Sorry for the noise. I'm cutting carrots.
Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate that.
So he's saying that this was Mandarin.
Now let's move on to item number 17. I'm moving as fast as I can. 你不知道我为什么离开你，我简直不能说放任你哭泣。
What about this song? Was this one also Mandarin?
Now let's move on to item number 18. 忘了有多久
Oh, I love this one.
再没听到你对我说你最爱的故事我想了很久我开始慌了
You know, as expensive as LA is, that is free entertainment you can get 3 times a week.
You know, I don't speak either language, so we're just going to have to take the word of the caller. What are you going to do?